Before you ever talk anything about her responsibility to submit, you just make sure that your wife would know. Your wife would stand up to me and say, I am so cherished by my husband. I'm the luckiest woman on the face of the earth because of how much I know he cherishes me. I've never met a wife who would say that and then would say, but I'm not going to submit to him. It is not your job as a husband to try to enforce God's standard with your wife, to say, you must submit to me. That's between her and the Lord. Her submission to you is between her and the Lord. You have a full-time job of loving her as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. And I know guys that say, yeah, I'd take a bullet for my wife. Yeah, will you sweep the floor for her? Before you ever talk anything about her responsibility to submit, you just make sure that your wife would know. Your wife would stand up to me and say, I am so cherished by my husband. I'm the luckiest woman on the face of the earth because of how much I know he cherishes me. I've never met a wife who would say that and then would say, but I'm not going to submit to him.
How does this trickle down to our kids?
Well, first of all, they see it. They see a healthy, loving relationship between a husband and a wife. Garritt, there's nothing that will be more secure for your kids, nothing that will cause them to feel more secure and safe than to see mom loving dad and dad loving mom. Tommy Nelson, who's a pastor in Denton, Texas, used to tell a story. He said, I used to say to my boys, boys, I want you to know, if we were out together as a family in a rowboat on the lake and a wind came up and it tipped over the rowboat and we were all in the water, he said, I want you to know what I would do. He said, the first thing I would do is I'd get that rowboat flipped over. He said, the second thing I would do is I would grab your mama and I would get her into that rowboat. And he said, then I would make sure she was okay. And I would see if she needed any lemonade, see if everything was fine. He said, then I'd look back in the water. And if you were still flailing, I'd come in and get you. Now he was, again, he's joking here, but right. He was making the point to his boys. I want you to know what the priority is here. I want you to see it because someday you're going to be responsible for a wife. And I want you to know what that looks like. But he also knows those boys feel so secure if they know mom and dad are together. They're a team. Dad loves mom. Mom loves dad. They're operating together as a team. There's safety in that. They sleep better at night. They are more secure. So if you really love your kids, this back to what we started talking about, mm-hmm. the most important thing you can do for your kids is love their mama. And let them see you loving her and know that that's safe and secure and that the nuclear family structure that God has ordained to be the structure where they grow and where they thrive, that there's nothing threatening that because mom and dad love each other and even when they disagree, they figure out how to get back on the same page together. I think that's so important.
This episode of Rapid Response was brought to you by CTC Math. Visit them at ctcmath.com today.